Well, after a bit of a messing around, I've got the 110 with the dodgy head back in the shop because after 3 weeks I got the head machined. 3 weeks. You know, in the old days it used to be like take it on a Monday, pick it up on a Wednesday. Well, those days have gone now with this Mr. COVID. I mean, I do feel sorry for the lad in the machine shop because he's got a great big machine shop, like 3 times bigger than here, and he's on his own. God, where's all these students that are supposed to be learning machinery? Anyway, I just wanted to show you that there's the bill. So what they've done is, they've taken 1/10,000th of an inch off the head, and they've also stepped the valves down. But when they stepped the valves down, they had to cut the seats. They had to cut the seats on the valves and in the head as well to match them up because they couldn't get enough material off them. So they've done it right, but oh, and it's that this isn't including pressure testing, which I did, but they would have charged $60 for. So in total, it would have been like $330. Get a new head for $400, but it's the shipping, isn't it? You see, the cost of repairs aren't really worth it anymore. It's absolutely bonkers now. I'm just like, well, I'll just have a ramble about this because I've just been down to get my. I got a bill for my gas bottles to fill up. I've only got 1 oxygen bottle and 1 argon CO2 for MIG welding, and I got a bill for $79. I said, "Hey, what's this for?" He says, we looked through his machine. He says, "That's for 1 month's rental because your contract's run out." I said, "What do you mean my contract's run out? Nobody sent me anything." And I said, "Well, that's not too bad for a year." He says, "Nope, that's a month." 70 odd dollars, nearly $80 with tax for 2 bottles a month. I don't know what to do because I need that. Anyway, never mind. But everything now is getting expensive downtown. Wow, it's expensive. You know. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to do a full video of this because I really need to get a wriggle on, but I will do a full video when we put the new AMC head on the block, if we ever get it back, because they haven't even bloody started it yet. 5 weeks and they haven't even started it yet. But he promised me on his mother's grave, which is kind of unusual because he's still alive, to get it done today or tomorrow, you know. Well, like I say, I feel sorry for the lad because he's on his own. But that's the problem with this bloody business now. A lot of businesses are just either charging too much or just going out of business, trying to make up for the time that they've had before off work. Well, I don't know. I tell you something, I noticed the air liquid where I get my bottles filled up on the counter. The cheeky buggers have said, "We're now increasing all bills by 8% because of COVID." 8%? Across the board, just because of COVID. I bet that doesn't come down when this pandemic's over. If it will ever get over. Right, let's this rambling. I've got to drop the oil first of all, if you remember, because we filled it full of diesel, so that's going to be a mucky job, and that's why I'm doing it inside. Like I say, it's been raining all week, and looking at the clouds, I think it's going to pour down again. That's why I'm soaking wet. So let's do that, and I'll just tell you briefly what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean off the surface of the block with some like finest sandpaper to make sure it's clean. Plug up the holes for the push rods, blow out all the holes for the bolts, gasket on. Oh no, first of all, before we do the gasket, I've got to calculate the height of the gasket which we need. Now fortunately, just bear with me, I got hold of 3 gaskets, all of different sizes. It's a 1-hole, 2-hole, 3-hole. I didn't get the 0-hole because I've never seen a piston sticking out so much, because that's the thicker one. So these are the holes I'm talking about, these little holes here. And I thought to myself, well, this won't be the last Land Rover head I'll be doing, so I thought I'd better get some in stock rather than rebuilding the engines and then finding out, oh dear me, I need this one. So that was the reason for that. And also, back in a sec, because I want something else I'm going to show you. You remember the other day we had a gasket set from Brickpart for the head? Well, this is the one from Bearmark. Just about the same, but not so many gaskets in it. And I think the little packet with the washers has gone missing, but that's not really important right now. I had to open the packet because of the valve stem seals. But there you go. There's a gasket. Now you remember the Britpart ones were black, and these parts are reinforced for the exhaust. I just can't understand why they just can't reinforce the whole bloody lot and make it stronger around here. And you can see this one's even thinner. Anyway, never mind. It's funny, isn't it? Britpart one's a bit stronger. Right, less of this rambling. Let's get on. I'm just checking the height of the pistons and averaging them out. And it seems to be around about 25 thousandths of an inch on every one, 25, 27. So let me put the magnet back on. But one thing I noticed is this here. Look how the valve's been hitting here, look. Wait a minute, let me get a bit of paper, I'll clean it up a bit. There you go, look at that. There's a great big mark in it. Holy shit, that's bad, isn't it? Look how it plays on that piston. Look at it. Still, needs a rebore, but who cares? It's a tired engine. Well, he just wants the head replacing, and that is it. So I'm going to work out what the height of the gasket should be for around about, let's say, 27 thousandths of an inch. I'll have to work it out to metric, but it doesn't really matter. But that's a little bit. What's this one like? Ooh, like bongos. Right, never mind. Back to work. So, it's now 5:30. It's all back together again. What a day. Nothing really much to report. It took a 3-hole gasket, and I put a Victor Reinz gasket on, so it should be good. It's all torqued down, everything's good, except it won't start because the battery's flat. If I'd have known that, I would have put it on charge. Now, one interesting thing was, this must have been hellish low on power. I didn't drive it, but it must have been hellish low on power, because if you can remember, I mentioned under this side wing here, when we were doing the spring, it was covered in oil. Couldn't work out where it was coming from. Until today. Had a hole in the turbo, so all that back pressure and oil was coming up and dumping it out of the bloody turbo hose. So I put another one on. Kaput. Now, there is a problem with the heater. With the heater. You remember when I tested this and I put a little bit of pressure in it and I took the hose off and it squirted everywhere? The heater cores are almost block solid. I bet you they've either been using muddy water in this, or they've been filling it full of sealer, block sealer, or head gasket fixie stuff. Because this car came in with, well, it didn't come in, but when this car was imported last year, it had an overheating problem. And you remember the guy gave, the seller gave him a head gasket to go with it. Well, anyway, so the story goes that it naturally overheated. What happened? The head warped. So they got it machined, but they didn't get it crack tested. And what happened was it overheated again. So they bought another head, which is this one. And they bought that in November and fitted, and it seems to have been alright ever since. But there seems to be a recurring problem. Now, I tested out the radiator by just putting a flow through, and it's not choked up, so that's good. But I don't know what to do with that heater. It needs a new core. It's absolutely block solid. I can't even blow down it. I got the airline out. I couldn't put £100 down it. It just was absolutely solid. So I'm thinking of just joining the two pipes together, the steel pipe that goes along the intake, going back into the head, just join them together. I don't want to blank them off, because you want a little bit of circulation from the heat of the back of the engine to come round to the front. But I can't put that heat. So what's happening is this could be the problem why it's overheating again, or overheated again, because there was no circulation through the heater. If there's no circulation through the heater, that hot water at the back of the head, there's nowhere to go. Usually it runs back and gets sucked back into the bottom hose where it had nowhere to go. I wonder if that was it. We will never know. However, what was the worst job on this? Believe it or not, changing the bloody oil filter. This has got one of those plastic shields on underneath, and all the, you know, like the Land Rover type push and twisty type clip bolts and fastenings had all been replaced with nuts and bolts. And some bright spark, I don't know what I've done with it now, they'd put an oil filter on it that was really little tiny oil filters, something like that was off a Yaris or something like that, because you couldn't get the shield off, and it was a hell of it. It took me about 20 minutes just to get the thread started on the oil filter because you couldn't get your hand in. What a daft idea that is. That discourages you from changing oil. Anyway, hopefully tomorrow we'll get it running, because he's been ringing me up and emailing me and stuff like this about this car. I hate being pressurised with stuff, you know. I only just got this back this morning, but anyway. We'll sign this off now and we'll come back tomorrow. But I won't put any coolant in it yet until I decide what to do with that hose at the back, because it's such a funny shape. You've got one spout coming up here and one this way, so you've got to do a sort of a loopy roundy type thing. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I'll think of something. Yeah. Life in a garage, eh? Who would have it? Certainly not me. I wish I could talk to myself when I was 16 and say, don't do it, mate. Be a priest. See ya.